So we've got our Surcingle out again, asking Atlas to come over on this side. And this is, I think, a little bit after that last video, so it wasn't just like the next day. I think he had a break, but he's wanting to go and touch the cone. That's totally cool. Again, I should be using start button since he likes using those. So I just kind of have my timing kind of weird, like I need to wait till he touches it and then go ahead and touch him. So he's touching it, I'm not doing anything. Then I'm going ahead and touching him with the girth and then reinforcing. So yeah, it's just, I need to be a little bit less confusing. Like he touches it and then I go ahead and put it on him. That's better. And then reinforce, yeah. So without having like all those pauses in there and like waiting for him. This looks better because I'm not holding that girth on his shoulder like I was in the last few parts. I'm just touching it and taking it off. So he touches it and then I set it on and then click and take it off. So click and then take it off. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I'm not sure why I'm not putting it on him right after he touches it. Not sure why. I think he was moving his skin there, and so I just tried it again, which I should have just reinforced that and then tried again instead of just putting it back on him. But yeah, I'm still not sure why I'm waiting, or what I'm waiting for exactly there. So I think I grabbed some more food. And at least you can see a little bit better from this angle. Again, I need to be consistent with my start button, but you can see what I'm doing with it. So he's trying to like target it, like body target it or target it with his shoulder. He wanted to kind of target this. He's just kind of confused and not sure because I'm making it very confusing. Like sometimes I have him target, sometimes I don't. Like I need to be consistent. And I've gotten it to where the girth's all the way open. It is a short girth. It's for my Surcingle. That's why it's so tiny, but he's trying to target that. So I need to be careful with that because I don't want to create a start button that I'm not aware of. Like it's an incidental one, like him like leaning toward me or something. And then I do something to him, or like touching this if that's not something that I want. He's very consistent with wanting to touch something, so I should just let him touch one of the cones or touch the girth itself. So I'm just kind of stroke each side. I'll click as that's happening and then reinforce. See how he's kind of leaning with my shoulder, with his shoulder. I need to pay attention that I don't create a start button with that. I'm just putting it on him one time too. I want him to have a bit more control, and I'm not going to just put it on him whenever. That's super important, specifically for horses like him. So I'm not just going to do it whenever. I'm going to wait until he does something else and then I do it. And you have to do that consistently so it's not just like confusion, like, okay, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. That's why I'm getting so much variable behavior. Sometimes he leans toward me. Sometimes he touches the rope. Sometimes he touches the cone. I'm just not being consistent. Like the good part is like me trying to touch him on the shoulder with the girth and keeping it small, things like that. But I need to be consistent with that. And leaving it on those a little bit longer looks good. I'm kind of working my way up over his withers. I'm just starting on the shoulder. I was just showing those little clips of different sessions working on that. My goal obviously is to have it kind of lay over his back, work just like the Surcingle, and then have it on his belly, moving around, stuff like that. And then hanging off his side. So I'm just starting on the shoulder and building my way around. So now it's kind of up over his back, and then I click, and then I'll take it off. And this looks pretty good. He looks pretty relaxed. Ideally, I could have asked him to be more parallel to the little rope here on the cones. but it worked out because you could see a little bit better. I'll have him target it. That looks good. I need to be careful with that though. I don't want him only target with his nose because that's another thing that he gets stuck with. He just wants to target with his nose and nothing else. So I've been teaching him to body target parts of the surcingle, or just do other body targets in general, and that helps. That seems to help. Same thing over here. I'm working my way up over his withers. Now, see, now I'm like starting to use the start button again, so I need to be consistent and just pick what I'm going to do here. And we would make better progress that way as well. And that time, like, he's not touching the cone. I just need to, like, pay attention and pick something. And I would definitely recommend using a start button. They seem to work quite well with horses that need them and that need confidence. So I would be using it with Atlas all the time. But I think sometimes I'm like, oh, well, he already knows this. He doesn't need it. But he seems to do really well with it. Like, he kind of has a little bit more control than normal. So he's letting me lay it over his shoulders. I'm going to grab just the actual surcingle part and just have him target that, get used to that. And again, he's seen that multiple times, but I just want to build up his confidence with it. So he's cool with targeting with his nose. That's not a big deal. He's pretty used to doing that. That looks good. So I'm just offering him to target it with his neck, and he does that. Same thing there. That looks pretty good. And then I'll go ahead and touch him on the shoulder. But again, not using the start button, so we gotta watch that. Work on the other side. So I'm using that as a target to move him around. That does really help quite a bit. I use that like with the fly spray and the halter and ropes, all kinds of stuff. It's just turning it into a target, and then it's a lot less scary for the horse. So same thing, I want him to target with like his cheek and his neck, and then I'll go ahead and touch him on the shoulder with it. So like this, it doesn't need a start button. Like when I'm asking him to body target, I'm holding it up. I'm not putting anything on him. So I'm just holding it up and offering it to him, and then he can go ahead and target it if he wants to. If not, that's fine. But the other parts of it, I do need to use that start button. So then now I go ahead and touch him on the shoulder with it, and that looks pretty good. He's kind of moving into it even. That looks perfect. So even though it's not the best, like, cleanest training, it is going well. Like, he's not terrified of the Surcingle. I could do it worse, but that's just kind of proving that even though it's not perfect, I can still be successful. I'm trying to improve the whole time, but using this, you don't have to be perfect. So I think a lot of people think that with just training in general, but especially with like pause reinforcement, have to get your timing right, and I mean, all those things are important, but you can still go well, even though you're not perfect. That's why I'm trying to show these videos where it's not perfect, and kind of show that journey of all the different things that I've had to figure out, and so that you don't have to do that too, because it's a lot easier when you get it right and then continue to do it right.